Welcome. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Lincoln Board of Education for the month of May. Need to set the meeting agenda. Any questions on the agenda? Motion to accept the agenda. Ricky, second.
I'll second it.
Gloria, seconds. Vote. Gloria.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I do also. I say yes. Any public comment? No public comment. Superintendent and staff reports are there for you to look over and read at your leisure. Consent agenda. Any questions or discussions on consent agenda this evening? If there isn't any, I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
I'll make the motion.
Gloria makes a motion. Etta seconds. Vote. Gloria.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. Action items. 6A, MOA with the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Leanne Smith.
Yes, the Commonwealth of Kentucky wishes to enter into an MOA with Lincoln County Board of Ed for the services of Tim Godby as Educational Recovery Director, Debbie Sims as Educational Recovery Specialist, Billy Harris as Educational Recovery Specialist, and James Carrier as Educational Recovery Leader. They remain on the Lincoln County Board of Ed payroll, and the Commonwealth of Kentucky reimburses us for salary and benefits plus indirect costs. So I'm asking the board to approve the MOA with the Commonwealth of Kentucky for Tim Godby, Debbie Sims, Billy Harris, and James Carrier for the 22-23 school year.
Any questions or comments? If there aren't any, I'll accept a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Commonwealth of Kentucky for the services of Tim Godby, Debbie Sims, Billy Harris, and James Carrier. Motion. Bruce makes the motion. Second. Etta. Vote. Gloria.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. And I vote yes also. 6B, audit contract. Leanne Smith.
Audit contracts and an engagement letter for the 21-22 audit are due to KDE by the end of May. So I'm asking the board to accept the auditor contract with White & Company PSC to perform the financial audit for the 21-22 school year in the amount of $19,875.
It is 21-22.
It's the audit for the 21-22 school year, correct? I had it at 22-23 last year, but it is last week, but it is for the 21-22, which is the current year audit.
Any questions or comments? If there are none, I'll accept a motion to approve the auditor contract with White & Company PSC to perform the financial audit for the 2021-2022 school year. Ricky makes the motion. Second.
I'll second it.
Gloria second. Vote. Gloria.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 6C, tentative budget. Leanne Smith.
The tentative budget is due to KDE by May 30th. I'm asking the board to approve the 2022-2023 tentative budget as presented last week, and that does include a 3% staff raise for both classified and certified staff.
Questions or comments? If there are none, I'll accept a motion to approve the 2022-2023 tentative budget.
Motion.
Etta makes the motion. Second. Bruce seconds. Gloria, vote.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. And I vote yes also. 6D, fuel bids. Leanne Smith.
Fuel bids were received 2 years ago. Cumberland Lake Shell and Woodford Oil were approved as vendors for providing fuel for the 2021 school year. And also that was extended to the 21-22 school year. We're asking that Cumberland Lake Shell and Woodford Oil be approved as fuel vendors for the 22-23 school year. And then next year we will have to put that out to bid again.
Any questions or comments? If there aren't any, I will accept a motion to approve Cumberland Lake Shell and Woodford Oil as the fuel vendors for the 2022-23 school year.
Motion.
Etta makes a motion. Second. Ricky. Vote. Gloria.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 6E, indirect cost rates. Leanne Smith.
Indirect cost rates are set by the Kentucky Department of Education and approved by the Kentucky Board of Education. The 22-23 rates for Lincoln County will be non-restricted rate 13.42% and a restricted rate for federal grants 2.37%. So I'm asking the board to approve those indirect cost rates for 22-23.
Questions or comments? If there are none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the indirect cost rates of 13.24% for non-restricted rate for food service and 2.37% restricted rate for federal grants.
I'll make the motion.
Gloria
Second.
makes a motion, Etta seconds, vote Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. And I vote yes also. 6F, principals combining budget, Leanne Smith.
Each principal shall prepare the principal's combining budget, which lists the summary budget information for each activity account in the school activity fund. This is due to the district finance officer by May 1st and shall be approved by the local board for approval by the end of May. I'm asking the board to approve the principal's combining budget from each school.
Questions or comments? If there are no questions or comment, I would ask for a motion to approve the principal's combining budget.
Make a motion.
Gloria makes the motion, second. Second, Ricky. Vote Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. And I vote yes also. 6G, revised section 7 allocations, Jeannie Cooper.
Yes, after speaking with principals at the April principals meeting, the following changes were requested in the allocations for attendance clerks that were approved, I believe it was February 10th. Mr. Lane also asked for the breakdown of the cost for the new positions, and I have that if you guys want that.
Sure. Yeah. I believe.
Yeah, I went back and listened.
Yeah, you did.
I'll never question anything.
So in the far column to the right is the difference in the new allocation with benefits that does not include insurance. You can see it's $166,000 it's going to cost the district for the new positions. I have a breakdown of the current positions without insurance and benefits, and the proposal of the new positions without insurance.
Any question or comment?
Okay, so like Lincoln Middle goes, that person goes from 240 to 185?
No, they get another person for 185. They get two people. So
Two
they get a
people, okay, I got you.
240 and a 185.
Okay.
With this new allocation. The approximate cost of a 1% raise for everybody in this district is about $200,000.
Anyone else?
Well, I guess I was the one that brought this up some time ago. And we've asked for it for years. And, it was supported years ago by principals, clerks, and several other folks because of the amount of work that's involved in Infinite Campus. And, we approved this last month with support from several different folks. And I've not heard anything, maybe not talked to the right people, but I haven't heard anything about any friction. If we look at our other allocation formulas and also our salary schedules, there's all kinds of differences in hours and days and percentages and salaries. And it's my understanding there are no other formulas that are being changed that we approved last month. And there are no others that are causing friction. So if I understand this proposal, then probably Houstonville, Stanford, and the middle school, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, would be the three schools that would be losing in what we approved back in April. Is that correct?
In the high school, they only want the additional days for their registrar. They want the extra position. They don't want, what was communicated to me was they didn't need 2 more attendance clerks, that they need additional days for their registrar. They would take 1 attendance clerk.
And we also keep adding all of these other positions, and it's less than a month now that we approved this. And now it's being proposed that we take it away. And, I personally myself don't approve of this and find it very odd that this has now been brought back to us to change after we had all the support and discussion from various folks.
One thing I want to say, I was part of the meeting, the principal meeting, and I think during the meeting when this was approved, the question was asked, principals, what do you think? Well, from my understanding from the principals was they were confused of exactly what was being asked of them. And the majority of them felt like this was only dealing with the high school, so that's the reason they did not speak up at that time. And we've got principals here now that weren't here at the last meeting, so if anybody wants to ask the principals what they think, I think it's the time.
Okay, let me see if I'm getting this straight. Waynesburg, Crab Orchard, and Highland are getting more days, right? But then Houstonville, Stanford, and Middle School will be losing days. Attendance clerk will be losing days. No?
They're getting an extra position.
What'd you say?
They're getting an extra person.
Oh, they're getting an extra person.
Yes.
No, Houstonville doesn't get another person.
No, Houstonville doesn't. The high school, middle school, and Stanford get an extra person. I'm sorry.
Houstonville gets one.
Go ahead.
At Stanford, at Stanford, we currently had one attendance clerk, and she had that position at 205 days. So with this change, that gives Stanford a second attendance clerk, and that is going to be extremely beneficial for us. So we are very pleased with that, and the proposal to have them both at 205 days will be very adequate for our building. So I understand, the concern about a loss, but we are gaining an additional staff member in a position where we definitely need it.
Any other questions or comments, or any questions by the board for any of the principals that are in the room?
Can I speak just a little bit to the responsibilities of the attendance clerks? Because they changed just a little bit, and I talked to a couple of attendance clerks. Because with online registration, they're not putting together packets anymore. They're not tearing all those packets apart and putting those papers into files. All that's handled through online registration. They hit a few buttons in that. I mean, it's a process, don't get me wrong. It is a process, but as far as putting packets together, getting all that sent home like we used to do, they don't do that anymore. So yeah, they don't manually enter new phone numbers. They don't manually enter data anymore. So there has been some significant change over the past couple of years, and had the pandemic not happened, I think they would have seen a lightened load. But of course, the pandemic is a totally off the wall thing. But I even spoke to an attendance clerk today who said things seem to be getting back to normal, and with online registration, our responsibilities have changed. So they felt like what was getting proposed could be accomplished, their original goals could be accomplished with that.
I just want to add that it's, I feel like I personally let our district down in the decision that we made, because I felt like I had the support of all the principals in the district before I made the decision to vote in support of this. So I ask that if you're not sure, to please stop us, because we can table anything. I will table, it doesn't matter. I want to make sure we get exactly what we need the first time. And I feel a little silly sitting here today, as we talked about it last week, because I feel like we could have gotten this right the first time. And we're going to get it right now. We're fallible human beings. We know that. We make mistakes. And I feel like this is just one of those. And even if it is something we're changing 3 or 4 weeks down the road, if it's for the right reason and to support our schools and students, and that's just what we do. But we're all professionals, and I feel like we could have caught this before we voted on it a few weeks ago. So
And
I asked for that help. Yeah.
And not only, I mean, there was also district folks that agreed that there was need to, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But I did have right after that, I had, after the last meeting, I did have several that I talked to that was in favor of the new way, so I do appreciate that. I would have just liked to have had that before we voted on this the first time, so. That's the beautiful thing about having a board, we can get it right. That's what we're gonna do.
I think part of the problem was the 2-day turnaround. I don't think.
It was quick.
I don't think they understood.
I agree. I get that.
Anybody else? Well, at this point, we have the option to make a motion to approve the revised section 7 allocations. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Ricky makes a motion, Gloria seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce,
No.
Ricky.
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also. 6H, elementary counselor days, Jeannie Cooper.
This goes right along with the last motion to take the scheduling off of attendance clerks and put it with counselors like it should be. In the past, we haven't had elementary counselors at every building, and now we do. So I'm asking the board to approve the increase in elementary counselor days from 190 to 195, add it to the salary schedule so that they have those days to schedule students.
Question or comment? If there are none, I'll accept a motion to approve the increase in elementary.
Is it from 190 to
It
195?
is 190 to 195.
Approve the increase, accept a motion to approve the increase in elementary counselor days from 190 to 195 to create class schedules. Motion Ricky, second.
Yes.
Gloria, second. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky.
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also. 6I, KDEC membership agreement, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, this is the annual time to renew our membership with KEDC. It is a co-op that we currently work with. So my recommendation is we would approve the membership agreement with KEDC.
Any questions or comments? If there are none, I'll accept a motion to approve the 2022-2023 membership agreement with the Kentucky Educational Development Corporation.
Make the motion?
Etta makes the motion, Ricky seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky.
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also. 6J, pay for covering classes, Mr. Rowe.
Yeah, this is something that's been brought up at least a couple of years ago, I know, by our certified advisory council, and I think we've had some discussions, or the board's had discussions about that. Board originally approved for 1 year to have full-time subs in each building. What we found out was that really wasn't covering the part of teachers still having to cover classes. It did help out for the schools to have that. We know we can't sustain that. So we're going to continue having teachers going to be covering classes, and that's not just a problem unique to Lincoln County, it's statewide. But I'd like to be able for the board to consider that we would pay the teachers a $30 stipend if they have to cover a class and give up their planning period, but they would have to make that time up before or after school.
Questions or comments?
I just wish we would have done this back in December. We could have been doing it for about 6 months now.
I'll kind of reply to that. Reason in December, we were still doing a full-time sub in each building. And that is expired right now unless the board wants to redo that. So instead of doing a full-time sub in each building, we're taking that monies and putting it toward $30 for each teacher to cover that class.
Is that extra money we're using for that?
We certainly could.
Yes, as much as we can.
Anybody else?
That's a very common practice that we're seeing. I reached out to multiple districts and they're all implementing something similar to this.
Is that about what each are paying? You know,
Is that about the amount that they're
Yeah.
paying? Yeah, that was a comparable amount. I mean, it kind of varied, but 30 was,
25 to 30 is what I heard
yeah.
from other superintendents.
Anybody else? If there's no further questions or comments, I'll accept a motion to approve a $30 stipend to teachers for covering a class during planning, provided the time is made up before or after school. Bruce makes a motion, second.
Second.
Etta seconds, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Absolutely yes for me.
Bruce,
yes.
Ricky,
Yes, sir.
and I vote no. 6K, Summer paint crew, Mr. Yaden.
Yes, I'm gonna try to get a paint crew together this summer to help for some of our painting needs across the district. $10 an hour will be the pay current employees. We'll get it out there and see if I can get some help.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, I just think we also need to be addressing some of those other needs that was identified back in June of 21. You know, I think there's still several of those according to the visits I've made. I mean, painting is on there, but there's a lot of other things as well.
Okay. Anybody else? No other discussion? I'll accept the motion to approve the hire of a summer paint crew. Ricky makes the motion, Bruce seconds, vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. House Bill 678, Mr. Yaden.
That's the House bill that released a lot of the regulations that we had to go through for any of the construction projects or anything we do like that. You got that paragraph there on there? Do I need to read that?
We have it.
That's officially what we got to, we just have to email, I think it's email the state saying that you all have approved this resolution to conduct facilities related projects and affairs under the provisions of House Bill 678 enacted during the 2022 regular session of the Kentucky General Assembly and submit to KDE as the notice of this action. That's pretty solid, wasn't it? That's fast.
Any questions or comments?
Leanne's impressed, I can tell.
Your reading proficiency
No,
is
sir.
admirable.
You hear about spelling bee?
Once or twice.
I do need to ask this question. Are we satisfied as far as the resolution being included in our minutes, or do we need to read the entire resolution?
I'm satisfied.
I'm satisfied. We don't.
Yeah, as long as it's in the minutes,
Yeah,
that'll be
that's-
fine.
it just
If anybody
needs to
wants
be in-
Look at it.
It
We
just-
had already asked him, that's why I was just checking with you guys, see if you guys are good with that. All right.
The way I understand this lasts for 2 years, right?
Yes, 2 years.
Mr. Rowe?
Any further discussion? Okay. If there is not, I would ask for a motion to approve a resolution to conduct facilities-related projects and affairs under the provisions of House Bill 678 enacted during the 2022 regular session of the Kentucky General Assembly and submit to the Kentucky Department of Education as notice of this action.
I'll make a motion.
Gloria makes a motion, Ricky seconds, vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. Copiers for Stanford Elementary, Ms. Duncan.
Yes, sir, we are requesting permission to purchase a copier that we will be able to pay for outright, as well as enter into the service contract with Bengal Office.
Questions or comments? If there are none, I will accept a motion to approve the purchase color copier printer from Danville Office Equipment. Bruce, second, Ricky. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 6N, jump coach stipend. It says Brad Smith.
Yeah, he's not here. You get the other Brad tonight.
Okay.
A few months ago, the track team brought up a booster pay position for their jump coach. They paid it. They were paying $800. They have requested to up that to $1,000, and they will continue to pay for that jump coach. They just want to raise it $200.
Questions, comments? If there are none, I will accept a motion to approve the $200 increase in the jumps coach stipend to be paid by the Booster Club.
I'll make the motion.
Gloria makes a
Second.
motion, Etta seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 6O, External Booster Club, Mr. Petrie.
The middle school cheerleaders have requested to create an external booster club. To move from in-house to out-of-house.
And I assume all that paperwork has been explained to them about audits and all of that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
All right, any other questions, comment? No, sir. There being none, I will accept a motion to approve the Lincoln County Middle School Cheerleading Booster Club to become external.
I'll make the motion.
Gloria makes a motion, Etta second, vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 6P, Head Start funding, Brandy Holland.
We are, have received as I discussed with you last meeting, COLA funding and quality improvement funding. We just need to get your approval to submit that through the application.
Questions or comment? If there is none, I will accept a motion to approve the proposal to apply for COLA and quality improvement funds for Head Start. Ricky makes a motion, Etta seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. And I vote yes also. 6Q, the Think Circa purchase, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, I'm stepping in for Dr. Murray. He had to stay home and watch the kids this evening. So basically what we're asking, or what the proposal he put together, is to use or purchase 1 year of Think Circuit for both the middle and the high school. The grand total of that would be $79,122. This is used for English language arts. It can also use for social studies, science, and math with it. I think this is a good starting point for us. We had options to do a 2 or a 3 year. We feel it's best to do a 1 year to make sure that this is what we're wanting to spend the money on. I think this is a great step to align grades 6 through 12.
Questions or comment? If there is none, I would ask for a motion to approve the purchase of Think Circa for 1 year at a cost of $79,122 to be paid with Gear Up and ESSER funds.
Motion.
Ricky makes a motion, Bruce seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce, Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 6R, Dean of Students, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, after reviewing our audit and after the surveys from various stakeholders, and knowing that we've got 2 buildings that currently are not connected, we feel there's a need for a position, Dean of Students. This position would be the same certification as a principal. The school would use, say, Section 4 allocation for this. So the district would pick up the cost for the extended days and the stipend that comes with it. This person would be primarily dealing with behavior, and our audit report specifically says behavior is an area we need to address. So what we're talking about is improving the job description, then adding it to the salary schedule.
Questions or comments? No, sir.
But this person will be in both buildings.
Yes, it would be working in both
It's not
buildings. They may be housed, have an office in one building, but they still would work in both buildings.
Okay.
So is there anything we need to do as a board back when this was changed? I think, 1920? Because I think they did like an extra counselor or something.
You mean
Or did they just
2020?
do that in-house with site days?
Do
Is
you
there
mean
anything that we
2020?
need to abolish? Or is it
As of right now, we haven't talked about cutting a position of counselor. I would kind of hate to do that during this time.
Next year, add a position.
Yeah, to add a position. Because in the mental health needs we have for them.
Any other questions or comments?
And I just sent him an email, and he said the certification would be principalship. So is that correct
Yes, it is.
for that position?
Anything further? If there's no further discussion, I would accept a motion to approve the job description for Dean of Students and add it to the salary schedule. Motion, Ricky, second. Gloria. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. Ross Tarrant Architects, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, I was able to participate in a Teams meeting yesterday with Ross Trent, talking about options we have for the feasibility study, and options also to help with talking about a nickel tax promotion. You have an attachment there. We actually did an updated version of it earlier today, so it may not be the first one you've seen because they didn't have a cost for the video fly through. They didn't now have that there. But these are the options that they provide, and I guess I'm getting direction from the board which way to go.
In reading the information, can I ask a question now?
Yes.
I noticed they just said school. That should be schools, right?
If that's what the board so chooses, yes.
I think we need to think about property before we think about schools.
I
Maybe we need to
agree.
do a part, maybe that needs to be a school and property, acquiring the property for another school.
Did
Just-
you say school or schools?
Well, we have the property for one, but we don't have the property for the other, unless you want to.
Well,
I mean, I think that the more I thought about it, I think adding schools on there is like getting another community excited for a new school when you don't have a place to
definitely
build.
have property for
Yeah.
the
And
second
so that-
school if we can get it.
Yeah, that is a year-plus long process just to acquire the property to build it. So I think that's just my personal thoughts, and I don't care either way. I just think that that's kind of putting the cart before the horse if you don't have a place to build it.
So it's kind of sounding like to me, it's already been decided where the new elementary school is going to be built. It's in the plan. And it hasn't been decided by the board.
That's true. But the two lowest capacity schools are at that end, and, you know. we
Well,
already
at
have
the
that
working
property.
board meeting, we did talk about schools.
We did, yeah.
And I know he was kind of surprised that there was,
The question does come up. I mean, what do you want to do?
yeah.
And we've already merged two schools, Eastonville and McKinney, and the other two haven't been merged yet. So
So what do
But,
we?
and there again, we didn't have the capacity to merge the two. They would be spread out amongst others. Do you want to table this? Do we make that discussion?
If we need to decide where the school's going, then I'd say probably so, but, the facts are what they are. That's the way I feel about it.
We're back to cats chasing our tails around and around in circles. Can we make a motion that the school is gonna be built on the Kings Mountain property and go ahead with the
We can make a
feasibility
motion
study?
to the feasibility study of doing a school on the Kings Mountain property.
I'm
And then
fine
if
with
we
that.
were to obtain other land or look into obtaining other land, look at doing a feasibility study there for another one.
A feasibility study for where we don't have property is null and void. You have to start with to do
That's what-
blueprints, the bedrock, the footers, the brick, the landscaping, and it's gonna add more change orders, which is gonna cost more.
And we're still at feasibility.
Yes,
You know, because we all know this is feasibility.
yes.
We don't have a nickel tax passed yet. We don't have any of that.
if I recall last week, I thought he was adding that too.
But it would just be a building only. We would look at a building.
Well, maybe we need to have the discussion about some property.
Put it on the agenda, Bruce.
I can. We've got some property that we're not using, that nothing's been done
That's
with
not on
for
the
some
agenda
time.
tonight, is it?
No. We're discussing, so
So can we make a motion to
Do you want to begin the feasibility, then add acquiring property to our next working meeting? Add feasibility for this?
well, I mean, I thought, from my understanding last week, that was being kind of all merged in.
And that's what we're discussing right now. That's part of the question.
So yes, I think it all needs to be done at one time myself. That's my opinion.
I don't disagree with that at all. I just think that, again, I mean, we can change the way we think from one week to the next, right? We just change one thing. So, why would we talk about building a school if we don't have the land? So I'm fine with talking about the land and building a school at Kings Mountain, if we need to be that blunt about it.
Shall we table this tonight?
Yes,
I think so.
I think we should.
I'm going to table it.
Sounds good.
All right, facility updates, Mr. Rowe.
Yeah, this is another question for the board. We got the feasibility study in for the first one across Trent did for us. And we have some sticker shock, I think, with some of the prices. It's continually going up, as shared with us during our working meeting. So this is on here, if the board wants to take any action of things they want to do now, that's in that feasibility study. I've got Ms. Smith here prepared to answer questions on the financial part of it, if you've got questions.
I wish we could see exactly how that connection's gonna look. I mean, I know we had a little diagram, but
I think after we decide to go forward with just the plans,
then we will see.
We will have-
There'll be a
that.
drawing
Okay.
that you can approve or disapprove.
Okay.
yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. Then that's the big question that I have is the financial side of it. Obviously, I would love to, approve the whole entire packet, but it's not a reality either. So, any advice, any information, what we can do, what we cannot do, what we can afford?
So I'm sorry I had to leave last week's meeting, but I did go back and listen to kind of get a feel. And I feel like, of course, the priorities are the middle school connector. And then we're also looking at the field house and then also the press box, it seems like is more of a critical need. So I kind of looked through the pricing and it sounded like on the connector, you guys would be more interested in just the connector without the administrative suites. And so just piecing together, it looks like that would be about $700,000 to do a connector between the two buildings. I would feel comfortable using general fund money to pay for that. I do not think we would need to do anything outside of here in order to pay for that. If you look at our ESSER money alone, in this year, we will have indirect costs that the general fund will benefit that would cover the cost of this by itself. So I would feel comfortable funding that out of the general fund. Sounded like, if I'm reading through these figures correctly, I'm looking at the feasibility study on page 18. The top part reads new press box and it says cost is $250,000. So I'm assuming that's total cost on a press box.
That's a
There's two of them. That's
prefab.
a prefab one, and then there's one that's we would build, or we would contract to build, so there's two different options.
So there's an option one that says prefabricated, 250,000. Then it says option two, a CMU structure on grade, but it says a unit cost of $168,000.
So basically, it's one of the two. The board would
So it would either be
choose.
250 or 168. On that, either one of those options, we would also be able to use general fund dollars to pay for that for the press box. Again, using our indirect cost and our contingency is over 5 million that we're projecting for next year. I don't feel like it's irresponsible to use $250,000 to, or $168,000 to make sure that that structure is safe. Now, if we're looking at the field house, so I see a number down here of a masonry structure of $3,655,000. But I also think there are some renovations up above that would add into that amount. That's not a figure, obviously, I would feel comfortable paying out of the general fund. Do we have the money? Could we afford it if we wanted to? We could. Does that mean that we should? It does not. I'm happy that our contingency is being built up, but we absolutely can't afford to squander it on the first project that pops up just because we have a little bit of extra cash right now. I have spoken with Lincoln Thiner at RSA, and he indicates that we could bond that amount. He's going to send me some figures just to look at, you know, how that would look. We could bond that for 20 years. A field house could be done for 20 years. There are some other components on here which I haven't investigated at this time with him unless you all direct that you want me to. But the first thing I'm going to have him look at is the amount to cover field house renovations, which appears to be in the ballpark of around $4 million. So my recommendation would be to proceed with the connector using our general fund dollars, the press box with general fund dollars, and to look to Ross Sinclair to come up with some options for us on the field house.
What about ESSER funds?
I have not looked into that yet, but like we've discussed, I believe we could use some ESSER money on a field house project. I mean, we're going from one bathroom to multiple bathrooms. It has to be more sanitary. I mean, our space is going to be much larger. Our square footage per athlete contained within it's going to be much larger. I mean, I'm sure ventilation's better. That would be more, digging into it with the architect, because I don't know what all makes up this figure. And then kind of working with KDE, they would have to approve using ESSER dollars. But I do think that it would be reasonable to think we could use ESSER money for some portions. Absolutely not for the whole thing, but for some portions of the field house.
Did your field house, and I lost track there, so that's my fault. Did it include the renovations, the 402,000?
So I had the 3.6 million, and then up top there was expand weight room and update add restrooms and a new metal roof. I think all those things get added together. So I asked him to look at about a $4 million project, just to give us a starting idea. I don't have that from him yet. As soon as I do, I can go ahead and forward that on, just so you can look at it to get an idea of what that would look like for us, how it would affect our bonding capacity through the years, in conjunction with the rest of our debt that we have. Now, if you direct me to look at adding other portions on, I mean, we can look at anything.
What is our bonding capacity? 9 million?
It's around 9 million right now. So of course, if we did a $4 million project, that would dollar for dollar reduce our bonding capacity. Now, Lincoln did send some information about a nickel tax, so I'll just throw this out there since we're discussing bonding capacity. So we're currently between $8 and $9 million. If we were to add a nickel, that would take us up to $24 million. If we were to add a second nickel, that's including the 9. If we were to add a second nickel, it would take us anywhere from $35 to $55 million in a bonding capacity. Just to give you an idea of the impact of a nickel.
Yeah. Well, I think with the mindset of maybe possibly building a new elementary school at Kings Mountain, we probably don't want to go over the 4 million because we don't know what that school's going to cost, and I don't want to leverage everything we have. So
sure.
Can we look at the immediate need? And again, we just had a little bit of time to talk to him. The immediate need, was brought up with the space in the weight room, just like you mentioned, with extra bathrooms and those type things.
Yeah.
And, that's obviously a lot smaller number because you're doing a renovation of the existing field house. And I'm not sure if that's something we can look at or not, because, the big project would be, and I'm not saying we don't, that's awesome to have that, but that's something that could get done, I guess, what I'm saying, fairly quickly. That's what I'm getting at. I don't know how we can do it, but.
The renovation, you think?
Yes, I'm talking about the renovation part of the field house. And that's actually how the conversation got started with the field house, just because of having one bathroom and making it bigger and those type of things.
Do you think that we could do the renovation and not build the multi and get by? Is that what you're?
No, I'm saying maybe that's something, if we're going to do both, that's something we can go ahead and do that quick.
Go ahead and get
sooner.
started.
Yeah, that's something that maybe we can get done sooner than later, because you know how things move in this world. It takes a while.
Take a year better. Yeah.
And that's not a major construction project. I mean, it's just not. I mean, that's just probably the major part of that would be the plumbing, really. For the bathroom.
HVAC.
And some HVAC, exactly.
Yeah.
The electric's already there. So maybe that's something we need to talk to architects about. Kind of.
I think it's an option.
Yeah, probably need to talk to architects about it and narrow it down a little bit.
On the other hand, though, it sounds like the connector and the press box would be something that we could jump on and take action tonight, should we want to.
And I just done a little research. I don't have anything. I don't bring notes with me to meetings but I did talk to some people in the construction world that's doing outside of school projects. They do hospitals and everything else. And the consensus that I believe that they're seeing is that inflation is not going to go away. And I just want to share that with you guys and gals, is that they feel like inflation is here to stay. They feel like that prices for materials may decrease a little bit, and if I'm wrong, somebody else can chime in, but they feel like the cost of business is not going to change much in the next 6 months to a year. It's just pretty much this is what it's going to cost to build stuff anymore. So the price, it shocked me as well, but I feel like the realization is that inflation is here to stay. So we got to look at them as real numbers.
So the renovations were, that's about 400 and some, I think roughly figured.
Right.
For the field house.
Yeah, about 400.
That's what that's what they come up with. And you know, like Leanne said there, and of course, money's money and still money, we might be able to use extra money for some of that ventilation type stuff. Seemed like when HVAC seemed to be ESSER approved.
The one thing that we didn't talk about that I want to bring up, I about forgot, was the renovation of the existing admin suites at the McGuffey in sixth grade. Or the McGuffey in the middle school. Is that something that is a need, or do you know?
I don't really.
I wouldn't say
What-
it's a priority.
what-
I don't think it's priority. There you go. Yeah.
But wasn't that part of if they built the suite and then they would renovate that? area?
Right. Right.
But it
That's
need
what
to be
that
done.
was. Because now they'll still need the suites for administration.
Yeah. So,
Okay, well, this is just renovation of the existing and not new. Right, it was either build a new one or renovate. So I
No,
was
it
just-
was renovate after we built.
yeah,
it.
after they built a new one, they're gonna go back and renovate that suite.
Do something
area
else
and
with
make it- Do something else with
I got you.
it, since all this.
I'm just reading off the paper here.
Understand.
Yeah.
Would we want to go ahead and take action tonight to go ahead and get this press box and the connector going?
Absolutely.
And then get back with the architects to talk about renovating the field house and go from there. All right, how do I word this?
This'll be just for the design, right?
Right.
To hire them as an architect to design the field house or the press box.
First thing they do is design it, then you approve a design.
Right, yeah, right. So I make a motion that we hire Ross Tarrant Architects to design our new connector and press box.
Motion.
Ricky makes a motion. No,
I
you-
second.
you
He
second. I just made the
You
motion.
just
You
make a
second.
motion.
Second.
All right. Sorry about that. All right, Bo, Gloria.
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Ricky.
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also.
Exciting times.
All right. Addendum item 7A, Branscombe Pay. Mr. Yates.
Yeah, we just, this is just another bill for the welding lab. Had a meeting Wednesday. It's come along, pretty pleased how it's come along. They stated we're probably about 65 to 70% complete. And really just getting to the point now where we're waiting on products to get there and plug up. So
Okay.
it's looking like we will. Right now, it looks like we'll meet the deadline.
Questions, comment? There are none. I will accept the motion to approve the Branscombe Construction Pay Application Number 3 in the amount of $58,248.36. Bruce makes a motion, Ricky seconds, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also. Next we'll be moving into closed session. Ask for a motion to move into closed session.
I'll make a motion.
Gloria makes it, Ricky second, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also.
I'll be right back, guys. I need to go visit the lady.
We stay